Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen, wassalatu wassalamu ala Sayyidil Mursaleen. The story of Sayyidina Musa and Al-Khidr in Surah Al-Kahf, that's the third story, is to me it's very fascinating. It resonates so much, and I want to share it again. I think I kind of gave that same talk last Ramadan, so inshallah, just as a reminder of what that story really is telling us. So the story of Sayyidina Musa and Al-Khidr, it is unlike any other story because it deals with a different type of knowledge. You have the knowledge that is built on reason and science. That's the knowledge for all of us. Then you have the knowledge that's built on wahi, on inspiration, and that's the knowledge of the prophets. But there's a third type of knowledge that is very mysterious and it's beyond our comprehension, and it's the knowledge of Al-Qadar, predestination, explaining events that happen. It's beyond our comprehension. Now, this was an exceptional meeting between Sayyidina Al-Khidr and Sayyidina Musa because it answers the more perplexing questions in the human mind. Why are there wars? Why is there famine? Why do children die sometimes? Why do people have accidents? So many questions that we have no answers for. But that story gives us that answer. So in Surah Al-Kahf, in chapter 18, verse 65, so when Allah ordered Sayyidina Musa to go and seek that person to learn from him of that knowledge, so they went, the story, they went until, they found him. فَوَجَدَ عَبْدًا مِّنْ عِبَادِنَا أَيْتَيْنَاهُ رَحْمَةً مِّنْ عِنْدِنَا وَعَلَّمْنَاهُ مِنْ لَدُنَّا عِلْمًا. And they found a servant from among our servants, meaning Al-Khidr, to whom we had given mercy from us and had taught him from us a certain knowledge. Now, some consider Al-Khidr as the embodiment of Al-Qadar, of fate. So as you hear his name, use it interchangeably with Al-Qadar and you'll understand. And the most prominent characteristics of Al-Khidr, or the embodiment of Qadar, is mercy and knowledge. آتَيْنَاهُ رَحْمَةً مِنْ عِنْدِنَا وَعَلَّمْنَاهُ مِنْ لَدُنَّا عِلْمًا. So the main characteristics that we have to, when you hear the stories, in the back of your mind, mercy and knowledge. So anything that comes out of that person is coming out of mercy and knowledge. So when Musa asked if he can follow him, he told him, قَالَ إِنَّكَ لَن تَسْتَطِيعَ مَعَيَ صَبْرًا. You will not have patience with the contradictions you're going to see. If you want to learn about Al-Qadar, about fate, you're not going to have patience. So comprehending fate is beyond the capacity of the human mind, even for a prophet. So Moses insisted with, he was a human, he was curious, he wanted to learn. Give me a chance, give me a chance. Inshallah, I will, learn from you, and you'll, get God willing, I will not disobey you. So the important journey, starts. So they, wanted to cross a river. They got into a boat. As soon as they got into the boat, because the people knew Al-Khidr, so they invited him to come for free, him and Sayyidina Musa. They got into the boat. He went in there and punched a hole in it. And now water was coming in, and fear, and all kinds of problems, because the boat now is, wanted to sink. So they were bailing water, and it was a very stressful time. So Sayyidina Musa was reproaching him, why did you do that? They did us a favor, putting us in giving us a ride. Why did you, break their boat? And, this is the same thing as, Ya Allah, why did I have an accident? Why did I have a sickness? Why all the suffering and difficulty? Same thing. It's the same thing. He said, didn't I tell you you're not going to have patience with me? He said, okay, I forgot. I promise you I will not ask about it. So they continued. Then this man that Allah described as merciful, he found a bunch of boys playing together. He took one boy aside and killed him. And Sayyidina Musa was furious. How could you kill an innocent boy? What did he do? And he, reminded him that, he told him, you're not going to have patience, with me. So, it's beyond the comprehension of why things happen. So they continued after a final promise from Sayyidina Musa that if I ask you one more time, that's it. I can't follow you anymore. So they continued. They got into a village. They asked for some food, and the people in the village refused to host them, which was very uncommon in that time. It's very common when somebody comes visiting, you offer food. They refused. So on their way out, they found a wall that's leaning, it's going to fall. He spent most of the day rebuilding it. At this point, Sayyidina Musa couldn't take it anymore. The people who did us a favor, you punched their boat, you dug a hole in their boat. And the people who refused to feed us, you went in and built one of their walls. So the contradictions were too much to bear. And at that point, Al-Khidr told them, قال هذا فراق بيني وبينك سأنبئك بتأويل ما لم تستطع عليه صبرا. I'm going to tell you the reasons. And we know the explanation of the events, but the people who were part of those events never knew. They never knew these things. We know because Allah told us in the Quran, but the people of the boat, the parents of the boy that was killed, the orphans, they never knew, what happened. So evil, bad things when they happen, evil is relative. There is no evil for the sake of evil. Evil is a tool that Allah uses to correct. Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala controls the events. So when something that we perceive as evil happens, Allah employs it for something good. So our understanding of bad events is incomplete because we don't have the knowledge. You don't have the whole story. It's impossible for us to have that complete knowledge so we can explain these events correctly. Only Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala knows the explanation of these events. So fate, Al-Qadar, is of three types. Type 1 is evil that you perceive as evil, but events eventually show you that it was actually good. Like the people of the boat. They were wondering, why did I have an accident? Why did I get a sickness? Why did I have an accident on my way to the airport to take a flight? Then you read on the news next day that the plane you were supposed to be on crashed. You don't know. I mean, those are the types of evil that you thought something bad happened, but events show you it was actually for your own good. When the people of the boat, were bailing water, they passed by the palace of a king who was confiscating every good boat. So when the king saw, they were bailing water, the boat is defective, he let them go. So Al-Khidr saved their lives by, causing a problem in the boat, because had they, passed by with a fully functioning boat, the king would have confiscated, maybe they would have fought his soldiers, maybe they would have killed. And they were the only ones supporting their village. So it was what they perceived as something bad. They knew, after some time, that it actually was something good for them. That's type 1. The second type is evil that you perceive as evil, something bad. You perceive it as bad, but it is actually good. However, you'll never know the reality of it, how good it was, until the day of judgment. And that's like the second story of, the parents of the boy. Why was the boy killed? They didn't know. They spent their life, grieving over him, asking for his forgiveness. They never knew that Allah wanted them to have a better kid, that kid was going to be rotten and he was going to cause all kinds of problems. And Allah replaced them with somebody better. So they spent all of their lives and they never knew why something happened. So that's the second type. The third type is the most important. It's, evil that Allah drove away from you and you didn't even know it. Or good things that came to you and you never even knew that you were getting these good things until the day of judgment. So it's that, like the story of the orphans. The orphans never knew that their treasure, their inheritance was in danger, was ever in danger. Because had that wall fell, it would have exposed the money, the wealth that their father, their good, righteous father, hid for them. It would have exposed it. So Al-Khidr, when he rebuilt it, he covered it, and now the orphans had time to grow up and then get that back. So they never knew that something good happened, and that's what Allah drives all the events. So, in conclusion, the key verse in this whole story, إِنَّكَ لَن تَسْتَطِيعَ مَعَيَ صَبْرًا. You will not have patience. We cannot have patience with all of the contradictions we see around us. So we have to train ourselves to trust Allah. So if we ever, to comprehend why things happen, we have to have complete knowledge, which is impossible. So we have to ask Allah for patience, to endure whatever He sends our way. And we have to have full confidence that no matter what happens, it is for your own good. You may not realize it now, but on the day of judgment, when Allah tells you the reason why things happen, you will bow in prostration and thank Allah. You'll have nothing else to say than thank you, Allah, for what I perceived as evil, for that event, for that sickness, for that accident, for whatever that was that you did not like. And train yourself that I do not understand why things happen, so I am not going to fret about it, and I'm going to trust in Allah that He will drive what is good for me, and because only good comes from Allah. So if you reach that state, now you'll reach the state of tama'nina, of calmness, of tranquility, where nothing good or bad moves you. And that's how some of our scholars and the Sahaba, you tell them something really bad happened, alhamdulillah. Something really good happened, same reaction, alhamdulillah. Whether it's good, whether it's bad, it's all the same. It's all from Allah, it's all good. So we have to rid our soul of the pessimism that we have and submit to Allah's wisdom and mercy, because only good comes from Allah. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. Assalamu alaikum.